Hi everyone, welcome back to the It brand, where we dissect a celebrity owned or backed brand, talk about the celebrity, what the brand is doing right now, how much the public kind of likes it or hates it, and anything else that I want to focus on. My name is Jen, and as always, anything I say is my opinion, and if it's wrong, feel free to blame Google or the internet as a whole. So, today I am talking about someone who is very near and dear to my heart, and that is Drew Barrymore and her Flower Beauty brand. So, Drew Barrymore has definitely been in the public eye longer than anyone we've talked about so far, and likely will talk about. I can't wear these. Sorry, hold on. Okay, and likely will talk about. I was trying to make myself look smart, but they're annoying me. I was going to say that she started acting at 7 years old in ET, but actually, she got her start in acting when she was 11 months old. So she was born into an acting dynasty family, and she started acting quite young. She also, very, very sadly, started drinking really young, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So she has been in so many like iconic roles, right? Like Firestarter, E.T., Ever After, the very problematic but still kind of charming Never Been Kissed. She was in Scream, etc. But you guys, her life has not been easy. She has been very, very open about her troubled childhood. In her 1991 autobiography, Little Girl Lost, Barrymore recounted early memories of her abusive father, who left the family when she was 6 months old. She and her father never really had a significant relationship and seldom spoke. She started drinking at 7 years old. I can't even imagine. Substance abuse problems by 12. She went to rehab at 13. She had a suicide attempt at 14 and then went back to rehab. She was legally emancipated from her parents at 14 as well. Here's a quote from her. Quote, I went through an awkward puberty. I was not that cute, modelly little kid. I was heavy. I had crazy hair. My eyes looked sad. It was real rough. It was a real rough patch. At 11 or 12, I couldn't get work. Then I went into the institution and everyone thought I was so screwed up. When I got out, I was 15 and going on auditions, but I couldn't get a job. I would sit there and they'd literally tell me, you're too fat, you're too old, you're too young, you're too blonde, you're not blonde enough. I felt angry toward people who wanted to alter me to fit the mold. I thought, that's on you. I'm not going to allow you to make me not who I am. Now at 16, she was briefly engaged to a 25-year-old man, Leland Hayward. Yuck. Men are gross. She was also later engaged to a guy named Jamie Walters, allegedly an actor. She was 17 and he was 23, so the age gap is less concerning, but still gross. And of course, when she was 19, she dated 31-year-old Jeremy Thomas, which, though technically legal, is another big yuck. And he would give her booze despite her both one, receiving treatment for alcoholism, and two, being underage. They got married. They separated 19 days later. She called him the devil later in an interview, which, I think that tracks. She was married to Tom Green, who is Canadian and now owns a farm, so that means I trust him. They divorced after about a year. Her third marriage was to a guy named Will Kopelman. They were married for 4 years. They had 2 kids. They divorced in 2016. She has since said that she will never marry again. And a quote from her, never, 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 never. I will never get married again. And I also believe people should say the word never and I will never with a capital Never, never get married. Later, I never want to be entwined with someone like that again, ever. She was asked this year actually if she saw like men or romance in her future, and she said, quote, my house is really full of a lot of women. It's a constant high feeling. My girlfriends are here. I work with other women. There's a real commune feeling. It's not like we're this lonely household. Would it be nice to have someone come into my life? I don't even know who fits into this. I date occasionally, but no way am I ready to open that door. My girls say I should go on dates, but I also know how I felt when men were around when I was little. It didn't feel safe to me. So I'm probably overcautious from those experiences. So I want to put this into context for you because when I was growing up, Barrymore's older than me, but when I was growing up, she was the definition of wild child. She was the first kind of kid celebrity that I remember being chaos. and being kind of a cautionary tale. Like, she went to Studio 54 as a kid, substance abuse problems, was in and out of relationships with gross men, far too old to know better. They were all gross. And in the early 90s, she was in a series of like B movies that weren't great because she couldn't get work in like Hollywood the way that she wanted to. She most notably, I think, played Amy Fisher in the Amy Fisher Story. She's also really notable in the 90s for flashing David Letterman on his show, then for posing for Playboy. I don't care for Playboy as an institution, but I don't really care one way or another if women pose for them. And as a side note on the Playboy thing, she does say she doesn't regret it. She says, quote, "I love the very exposed, humorous, imperfect, never trying to pretend to be perfect journey that I've been on in my life." But she also did say that she wouldn't want her daughters to pose for Playboy. So she was definitely tabloid fodder in the 90s. And she was a what not to do tale. But damn, that woman didn't flip the script. So I want to show you kind of two images of her. This is her in 2005, where she did this extremely gorgeous Vogue shoot. And this is her 10 years earlier for Playboy. In the 10 years between these two photo shoots, she turned her image around completely. So at 20, in 1995, she founded a production company called Flower Films. They produced things like Charlie's Angels, Never Been Kissed, Santa Clara Diet. In 2007, she became one of the faces of CoverGirl. She initially kind of served as a spokesmodel, but then she later became co-creative director of her own ad campaign. If you're younger than me now, so if you know her from now, you probably know her from The Drew Barrymore Show, which launched about 5 years ago, September 2020. It's a little weird. Barrymore has some kind of offbeat tendencies. I've actually never seen a full episode, but I've watched a ton of clips, and she's very warm, and that definitely translates on screen. It's also kind of a running joke that she has no boundaries, so she basically sits on her guest's lap and she gets real up in their business. But people definitely have responded to that kind of wacky chaos that she brings. So the New Yorker profiled her in September 2022 ahead of the Drew Barrymore show's third season premiere. And they, too, in that profile, expressed kind of bewilderment that the show has been renewed. Partly because I don't think its ratings were great. But they said, quote, "The Drew Barrymore Show is too chaotic and destabilizing to feel manufactured. The show's open sentimentality and copious shed tears are offset by its cackle of unplanned clumsiness. Bouncing off the walls one moment and breaking down the next, Barrymore seems to be barely holding on as sentiment threatens to overtake her. She is not so much revisiting her past as dragging it along like a bundle full of lessons waiting to be discovered. If her off-the-cuff irrepressibility is an act, then it's the best performance of her life." I think that definitely kind of sums up not only her show, but also her in general. Off-the-cuff irrepressibility. So now I want to talk Flower Beauty. So Flower was actually launched in 2013, excuse me. So Flower was launched in 2013. The name obviously is familiar. It's a name already associated with Barrymore with her Flower Films. It launched in coordination with a company called Mesa. I'll talk about them in a bit. And it wasn't in Sephora. It wasn't exclusive to like the direct-to-customer online space. It was in Walmart. And typically when a celebrity launches any line at all, but beauty brands for sure, they target the luxury audience, right? But Barrymore went in the opposite direction and she signed exclusively with Walmart. So the brand is really, really attainable. The goal was never to be aspirational, never to be exclusive. It was meant to be makeup for everyone. They also launched with a full, I would say some may say even overstuffed line of 180 products, everything eye, face, lip, nail. Something that's really unique is that Barrymore decided to eschew all advertising, instead sinking that budget into production development. So this means that Flower Beauty spends 2 to 3 times more on formulation and packaging than the average mass brand. In 2013, Barrymore told Business Insider, quote, "I think there's such a crucial necessity for positive messaging so that women feel empowered and are not making themselves up to be something else. It's always about being the best you. Who you are inside, and your joy levels and a smile are better than any lipstick. It's sort of an anti-makeup messaging, but I think it's more human messaging, and the rest will fall into place." Now, she did say that ultimately, as the brand, she chose makeup because she spent such a good chunk of her life being made up. She said, quote, "I have grown up in the makeup chair. I loved watching women in this aspirational environment, but it was and always will be important to me to send messages of empowerment. And on a business level, I wanted to give women the finest formulas. They deserve to have that level of quality, and I wanted to be the brand that delivers that to them." You might notice the word empowerment kind of pop up a lot in the brand's messaging, from Barrymore in particular. And if she were anyone else, I might be like really cynical about that. But that kind of messaging with her, it feels very genuine. One sense you get from watching the Drew Barrymore show and from just listening to her talk in interviews is that she genuinely wants women in particular to feel loved and powerful. So it feels very genuine. Now, Barrymore credits a kind of triangle or trifecta upon which the brand sits. All product are crafted for form, function, and luxury, but without the price tag. So obviously today there are too many celebrity makeup brands. There's channel is built on it. But the market, wasn't as saturated in 2013. And it's not to say that celebrities weren't trying to exploit their fame in some way. I did not know this, but Selma Hayek had a makeup brand in 2011. Giselle had a skincare brand in 2010. But it wasn't the same as it is today. It feels like every day you turn around and another celebrity is kind of slapping their name onto something. And I don't want to be cavalier about that because I do genuinely believe that a lot of these celebrities are passionate about beauty, right? But passion doesn't always need to be monetized. And so a lot of these brands feel like a cash grab to exploit fans. Flower does not feel like that to me, and I want to talk about why that is and why I think it's survived over 10 years in this very saturated market. And I have 4 reasons. We've talked about some of these already. 1, it's accessibility. 2, it's a workhorse brand. 3, Drew Barrymore's very fresh image. And 4, their partnership with Mesa. So accessibility. We've talked about this. Usually this would be lower on my list in terms of success. But I think it's the key reason for Flower's staying power. It means a few things. 2 things, actually. 1, ubiquity, meaning almost anyone can get their hands on it, whether it's at Walmart, which is in a lot of communities, or CVS, or Ulta online, or Reddit tells me that you can actually get it at Dollar Tree. You can find it online. So you can find it in a lot of places, meaning that even if you don't have access to like a Sephora or a mall, you can still find this and you can find it in store. And I think there is something about that, like in store aspect. I don't know if you go to like Target or Walmart and you're grocery shopping, you're just like, ooh, I want to try that lipstick or something. So I think that's one part of it, is the kind of ubiquity of where it is. And 2, the low prices. We talked about this. The initial launch of 180 products had price ranges from $4.98 to $13.98. That was 12 years ago. But even today, the highest price item on their website is $18.49. Barrymore says, "I'm most proud of the price point we have managed to achieve with the formulas and materials we work with. It's an almost impossible endeavor, and it's not something that people might know or understand or think about as a consumer." And just for comparison, Rare Beauty has an eyeshadow palette for $28. House Labs has eyeshadow pigments for $20, and those are just one color. Skin by Kim has palettes for $50. And Fenty, you can get them for like around $30 if they're not on sale. Flower is $18. And that's their kind of high product. And the rest of their products are also really, really inexpensive. Now their packaging had, a lot of people say, oh, the packaging feels cheap or looks cheap, but like, sure, the packaging isn't going to be where the money is put. The money is put into the formulas. And that really brings me to my second point. it is a workhorse brand. It's kind of under the radar. It's not super flashy. The products do their job. I'm going to guess that people who are older are more familiar with the brand and maybe even with Drew herself. Their brushes tend to be really beloved. Reviewers really like their blush bombs, liquid blushes that people compare to Glossier paint clouds.
Quick recap for you guys. I feel like these are both very, very beautiful products and will give you a similar finish, but both are really, really good. And I'm so happy that you guys asked for a review on this because I'm so happy that I finally tried.
I love them so much. Absolutely a dupe for the Glossier cloud paints.
Well, when it comes to whether or not the Flower Beauty Blush Bomb color drops are a dupe for the Glossier cloud paints, I would say, in my opinion, they definitely are.
Overall, my first impressions of these blushes are that I absolutely love them. I 100% agree with the claims that they are silky, lightweight, and buildable.
This is like maybe my favorite blush of all time, and it gives the most natural, unbelievably gorgeous flush.
And again, like people comment that the packaging looks kind of drugstore, but the formulas feel high end. And like she said earlier, they're not flashy because they don't have a lot of money spent on marketing. They've kind of said, we're not going to worry about marketing. We can rely on our brand ambassador, Drew Barrymore, for that. And instead, we're going to put our money into products. And just as an aside, so most makeup companies will spend between 7 and 20% on marketing. Large makeup companies may spend up to $100 million annually on marketing. So they are kind of giving up that marketing budget and putting that into their formulas, and that's what helps make it a really sort of workhorse brand. But I'm going to suspect it's not as popular on TikTok or social media in general because the packaging isn't cool and the marketing just isn't there. The line features a lot of like double duty products, such as a dual-ended eye, like marker eyeshadow, dual-ended lip and cheek chubbies. I'll show you a video of the little lipstick that's like 3 different colors in it. They have an adjustable mascara with 3 brush settings for lengthening, curling, and volumizing. They're really designed for ease of use, catering to women who don't have time or money to lavish on beauty routines. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about their accessibility, the fact that it's just a workhorse brand, and now I want to talk just briefly about their partnership with Mesa. And when I do this, full disclosure, a company that I worked for did some market research for Mesa, but it wasn't for Flower Beauty. Mesa is a cool idea. They will come up in other videos as we go along in this channel because they're a beauty brand incubator. They sort of started their life as a private label company for retailers. And then now what they often do is work with celebrities to bring their brand vision to life. Barrymore's Flower Beauty was the first celebrity brand they launched. They sell to mass retailers, so their prices tend to be more affordable. So they're just a leading kind of creating and manufacturer of beauty products. And quote, the senior director of product development and marketing said, Drew has brought her passion and knowledge of premium cosmetics to Flower. Quote, her firsthand knowledge of luxury cosmetics allowed Drew and Mesa to collaborate and develop a makeup line that delivers on its promise of bringing premium quality makeup to mass. All right, so her products are really accessible. You can find them. They're really inexpensive. For the most part, they work. They're well reviewed, but they're not flashy. They had the backing of someone with a lot of knowledge and bringing kind of beauty products to the masses. And then they had Drew Barrymore. I've obviously talked a lot earlier in this video about Drew's early years, how troubled they were. She definitely had a reputation of being this kind of wild child, and she certainly mellowed out, but I think the way her reputation kind of mellowed, she went from kind of like wild child to flower child, right? Like hippie, love everyone, be ready to accept what life brings at you always. Now she's broadcast into a lot of living rooms, and that certainly creates a relationship that feels a bit like she's a therapist, right? She's trusted by a lot of people. She's very open about her feelings and her life. It feels like she's just kind of brimming with emotion, which also makes us feel like we know her. But even before her talk show, she really felt like an open book to many people. She was a beloved child star, an unguarded young teen. She was front and center in the tabloids, and that certainly made it feel to a lot of people like we already knew her. And there's something really genuine about her. And I think we do crave authenticity from celebrities. Now, very often, authenticity feels like it just comes in the form of access. Like we have access to what celebrities are feeling all the time because we have access to their social media. But I don't think that's what it is with her. I think it is just like a genuine emotion that radiates off of her. I don't know if anyone remembers the video of her in the rain where she's like, get into the rain and you should always take the chance to go out into the rain.
Whenever you can go out into the rain, do not miss the opportunity.
It should be awkward, right? It should be kind of cringe, but it's so uplifting. It's so just authentic, and it feels so fully her. I fully believe that this woman who had this really tumultuous childhood, a wild ride of adolescence, no young person should have to deal with that. A series of bad relationships where she was no doubt exploited by these men because of her age, that she came out of that and is just truly happy to dance in the rain, is truly happy for what every day brings her. I think she's like this wild child turned hippie turned earth mother talk show host, and people trust her and they trust the brand. And her actual image, right? Her face is all over the brand's collateral. And she's one of those people in Hollywood, particularly with a beauty brand, who I do believe has not had filler or Botox or anything. She's just letting herself age, and she's gorgeous. And actually, in an interview with Glamour magazine, Drew Barrymore said that because of her addictive personality, she won't try plastic surgery. She compared surgery to heroin, saying she would probably die from it. She says that her dermatologist once noticed like dark circles under her eyes and offered Juvederm injections so that her eyes wouldn't look so sunken, and she declined and said she instead learned to highlight with makeup. She recommends like laser treatments as an alternative to plastic surgery. She thinks the plastic surgery trend has gone too far. I don't know one way or the other. I don't have a lot of opinions about that. But she says that she posts a lot of makeup-free selfies on Instagram, and that aging is a privilege, and she's 100% right. She's also allegedly a good tipper. So that just endears me to her. If anybody's worked in the service industry, you know. She has had a couple of scandals recently, like the most recent being that she was going to bring her show back during the WGA strike last year. She did nix that. She got into some trouble for making light of domestic violence as well in light of the Amber Heard and that guy trial. Didn't watch her first comments, though her apology seemed pretty generic on it. As for Flower itself, the company's website is still up and running. Its social media accounts are active, and so I think that it's going to be around for a while. Now, Barrymore did make a statement on their website that the company is going to transform into a lifestyle brand, but I think that the beauty brand will still be there. They do hair products as well now, so go check her out. I think she's just a cool woman. All right, that was, I think, the shortest video I've done so far. She seems pretty unproblematic. She does tend to stick her foot in her mouth sometimes, but overall she feels like she has good intentions. Okay, so let me know what you guys thought about this. What do you guys think about Drew Barrymore? What are her favorite movies of yours? Do you like Flower Beauty? Have you tried it? What are some standout products for you? As far as our next video goes, I am debating. I think I'm probably going to do Selena Gomez and Rare, but I also might do Millie Bobby Brown. Let me know which one you guys want to see first, and I will see you all next time. Have a great week. the nope, nope, nope. Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. No, that's not what I mean by that. Because I didn't look it up. Because I am an idiot.